Oh, maybe the window's open. Hello and welcome back to Ribbon Candy Hooking. I'm Deanna. Just remarking, it's hot again. Uh-oh, it's hot again. It's hot. It was like in the 80s yesterday. How about you? I guess we are calling this an Indian summer instead of a panic attack. But yeah, it's hot. I'm going to open these windows to get the cross breeze. I'm already flushed and whatever. But welcome back and happy Monday. I have to say, I hope that I am coherent today as my glasses fog up. It's hot. Um, I am so tired. I don't. It was the craziest weekend this weekend. I feel so out of it, but I know it's going to be a busy week, and I didn't want to not do a early in the week show. I want to remind you already and right now, as some of you have already sent in your stuff for gallery night on Friday. Gallery night is coming up on Friday, so I'm hoping that this connection is working. It's doing the lag again. You know what it made me do? Update. So I'm just checking everything. Everything looks all right. Kirsten, great to see you. Good morning. Happy coffee time. Lovely day in Vermont. Is it hot? Is it really hot? Cheryl, great to see you on the Cape. Good morning. It's a gorgeous fall day out there. Coffee time. Yes. Look at the fall leaves with the coffee and the donut. Oh, man. Carol, great to see you this morning on this beautiful day. I'm fogging up again. What is, I think I'm sweaty. This is crazy. I'm in the breezeway right here. There's no breeze. Great to see you in Northford. Catherine, great to see you. You made it on time. You're great. Great to see you. Chris, oh, Christy, great to see you. Good morning. Judy, good morning. Great to see you. Judy, I sent you that crazy email this morning, right? Oh no, that was Judy Sullivan. I sent the wrong. I have a lot of Judys, right? I sent the wrong thing out. It was to Judy Taylor. We're trying to edit some stuff for the Magpie, and I was doing it I'm at this four-way stop in the morning forever because it's the kids getting in school, and the car doesn't move for so long, and I know it's naughty, but I just like hit forward on the thing, and Judy, and I did the first Judy, and it was the wrong Judy. I thought that could be the name of a short story, The Wrong Judy, right? What could happen in that story? So much. I mean, anything could happen, really. It's going to be a lot hotter later. Oh, Jesus. Let's see how it goes. I think I'm going to I've got pants on right now. That's not helping. I think we're going to switch to a skirt. Leah, great to see you. What did you write in your post? Nan? Was it Nan? That was your nickname? While you're like on a tropical cruise and you're old ladying it up in your lounge chair hooking. Good to see you. You're just back from vacation. Oh, was that last week? Oh man, that sounds great. Yes, Nan Fudge. That's so cute. That'd be a great name for a candy store too. Ah, or a craft stall. Linda, great to see you. Beautiful autumn morning in Jersey. Happy New Week with Deanna. Happy New Week, everybody. It's going to be a beautiful fall slash summer week, isn't it? We are off to a crazy start here because it was Jocelyn's birthday, right? And then I went to get the friends who we hadn't seen. Joss didn't see her friends all summer because we were living at our old place all summer. I mean, we moved right before we moved in September, I think. No, August. But it was already, the way end of the summer, and the kids were back at school. And she didn't see her friends. And then when we went to pick them up for this big birthday blowout, she was nervous in the car, which I could understand because she hadn't seen them for a while. And it's like three of them all at once, like a gaggle, like a unified group, and then just her who, in kids' years, it was like eternity since they'd seen each other, and it was just weird. It was just weird. I feel like maybe they don't have that much in common anymore. Maybe because of moving, Jocelyn was able to, um, I don't know, come out of her shell and separate herself from whatever went down at school that I don't know about, like farting in class or peeing in her pants or whatever happened over the course of kindergarten till now that kids might have teased her about, which I never heard about, but I'm sure happened because it happens to everybody. It was a great chance to separate from all of those stories and become a new person. And I'm not sure that the old friends even saw the new person. You know what I mean? So it was a bit weird, and I felt like it was a bit tense. And I don't know why. Maybe that was just my adult layer on it. But Jocelyn's being tested for autism soon, right? We've been waiting for over a year with Yale, and the town is going to take it over because they can move faster, because they think that might be a possibility, that she's also on the spectrum. And I got to say, based on the way she like navigated this friend thing this weekend, I thought, more than ever, with her, I think anxiety, huge anxiety and ADHD, yes, but autism, no. But this weekend kind of changed my mind because she did exactly what her father does, which is when he's in a conversation that like he doesn't enjoy, it's like off he goes. He's just gone without any kind of um, transition. And she just did that. Her friends are here, they're making noise, and she just like picks up her phone, puts her earphones on, and just like walks outside or goes into another room and shuts the door. And it's like, honey, you're the hostess of your friends. Like your friends are here at your house. You're the host. So, and she's like, time out. I've had my fun. And whew, it was hard. It was weird. So I hope we don't repeat that anytime soon. But then the next day was a busy day. I had to drive them all home after the sleepover, of course, because nobody helps with that, which is very nice. It's like 4 hours of driving, but whatever. So, and then yesterday we went to Boston, which was a great day. It was hot, and Papa took Joss to the aquarium to see the disgusting eels with their, crazy. The big moray eel is named Thomas, and he's just like hiding out in there, opening and shutting his pointed face. He's giant and green, spongy. But she loves him. And so they did that, and I took Teddy to Cambridge, where we went to the MIT Museum. And I can honestly say, out of all of the beautiful exhibits that were there, I understood none of them. None of them. Like not one. I was even doing interactive. This is just not my brain. It's clear that that is not my brain. He's a little bit more like he's getting into like the interactive keyboard stuff, and I'm just like just totally spacing out, like having flashbacks to math class, just spacing out and thinking like, whew, are we about done here? We spent a fortune to park and come in. Are we about done? But Teddy seemed to like it, and there was one exhibit that he really loved that he'd already learned about in school. It was I feel like the guy's name was Gagnon, something like that, maybe Gagnon, something like that. And he was a kinetic artist in the 20th century, I think like mid-century. And he created a lot of things, some of which I took pictures of and posted on my Facebook thing, some of which I understood. Some I read the plaque and I still didn't understand what they were, but thought, oh, look at that. And that's about the extent of the immersion for me. Is like, oh, look at that, and then I'm ready to look at the gift store, get a coffee, and one of the things was really cool. It was like this row of wheels that looked like cogs, and I hope this thing isn't going to start playing me here. And there was many cogs, and the first one was moving quite fast, and you could see the second one was moving slower. And as you looked down the cogs, they were all moving slower. You looked at the one on the far right, the slowest one, and you saw no movement at all. But apparently this is a famous machine and a piece of art, and the thing measures time on its own with these cogs, and there must have some kind of simple battery or something. I don't know. Maybe it is all kinetic. I don't know. But the whole thing is that the cog that moves fast moves quite fast, like a hamster wheel, and the cog that's on the far end takes, I think Teddy said, 80 years to make one revolution. So it's not a surprise that I couldn't see it turning, because I could stand there for a week and I wouldn't notice it turning. Because 80 years, I mean, by the time that thing turns, I'll be dead. Horrible and weird thought, but it was a bit of a grounding thought. So that was really interesting. And we did see this robot. I forget what he was called. It was like Giro. Maybe I was hungry, but it was something like that. And it said, "Say anything to Giro. Say anything." And it'll answer you. It's a robot. And this is kind of like, this was a robot that didn't look like a human, but it was a ball with a ball on top, like that Star Wars character, B something, the small one that rolls and then he has a ball on top. Looked just like that. And so I was like, hey, Giro, maybe I wasn't saying his name right. Maybe that was the problem. Hey, Giro, how's your day going? And it's like silent. Like he turns around like an owl, like Exorcist, and he's like with his round top, and he doesn't answer. And I'm like, hey, Giro, do you like living here? I'm used to talking to Alexa, and Alexa always responds. It doesn't respond. So I'm asking all these, what I think are obvious questions, and he doesn't respond. And I said to Teddy, all right, let's get going. And suddenly Jiro shouts, quote, "Himster clothes." And me and Teddy were like halfway out of the stall where his exhibit was, and I was like, what the hell? What? And we started laughing so hard. And then he said, as we were walking away, I hope that's good laughter, something like that. And I thought, oh, this is not for me. We got to get away from these robots. This is so weird. It was weird. But I think someone with a higher IQ than me would really enjoy the MIT museum. It was fun to go. It was fun to take him. There was only one thing that I really enjoyed. I'm going to show it to you now because you might enjoy it too. Let me see if I've got it down here, and then I'll finish saying hi. There was one exhibit. They had something that was like, in honor of like the kinetic exhibit area. Um, they had a section where kids could do interactive stuff. This was the only example of weaving. And then they were making mobiles, like Alexander Calder style mobiles. So Teddy didn't feel like sitting down and making a mobile. He also, very short attention span too. And we walked over there to check it out. And the thing that really captured our imagination was this piece of weaving. They've obviously turned it upside down at some point. It looks just like a regular piece of weaving. But what it is a chart of collectively how the people who arrived at this space got there. Like what kind of literal transportation did they take? So you would look at that card on the right, and it says modes of transportation, and there's different colors of yarn for like I walked here, I took a plane. I took a plane less than 500 miles, more than 500 miles. I drove um, less than 50 miles, more than 100. We were, I think, pink, and then you would hook it onto this little sort of Amish toothbrush, and you would just run it in between the weave. It was very, very simple. It was basically like every other one was the right one, and if you made a mistake, nobody could tell. So you kind of wove it through the weave, and you added your story to the top layer of the weaving. And I thought this was such a beautiful idea. And then they had like one of those little comb things that you push in between, and you nudge it down so it sits really flat and flush with the rest of the weaving. So he wove it through with some difficulty, and then he pulled too hard and pulled it all the way through several times, which was very galling. But we got there in the end. It took us about half an hour to put one string into this thing. No fault of the exhibit. That was completely down to us. And then he kind of scrunched it down at the bottom, and he was very satisfied with the idea that we were part of this tapestry. And really, you can see how beautiful it looks. I mean, it is remarkably pretty. So I really did enjoy that part of it. And you know what I enjoyed even more? I am the worst. I am the worst. For someone who's gone to art school so many times and has lived a fairly cultured life, my favorite part was when we left and drove to Quincy Market, parked the car. I got out. We, Teddy and I, walked through Boston. We walked along the Freedom Trail until we found a pub that looked really charming, and we ended up stopping at the Beantown pub. A little heavy on the sports screens, but we got the most colossal booth, right? We were the only ones in the booth, and it was fantastic. And Papa and Jocelyn met up with us there, but I got a local beer and sat there, and I thought, yeah, Boston. It was a fun day. It really was a fun day. But it was a busy day, and it completely wiped me out for today because then we had to drive home, of course. Oh, Judy, happy Monday. Rainy and cool in southern Indiana. Hopefully, fall weather is headed your way. Sooner or later, it's got to, right? And you know what? The trees are becoming colorful because with this weird formula, it's like that tapestry, right? It's like each movement, each jag is different. Each day, each month, each week, every year we hit fall is different. And all of these factors come into play. And most people were saying, because of the temperatures and because of the rain situation, we would get a not colorful at all fall, and the leaves would just blow off the trees like garbage, and then it would be winter, and we'd all be cold. But that proves to not be true. It is still very hot, and it's quite colorful out there. So I hope that's the same for you if you are somewhere where you might get those great colors. Dave, do you get those great colors? Hi, everybody. Hot here too. Beautiful day together with Coffee Time Group. Oh, good way to start the week. Mrs. Fudge. Oh, you used to sell fudge as Mrs. Fudge. That is perfect. I keep telling Teddy and Joss, because their last name, they don't have my last name. I kept my name. Their last name is Lissenberg. And I keep saying, we need to buy a food truck and you have to sell Lissenburgers. I think that would be like the best thing in the world. But then they would have to work, right? So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. Rita, my love, good to see you. Good to see you. Welcome back. Catherine, good morning from Missouri, where the hummingbirds have gone south. Oh, they're so tiny and they fly so far. How do they do it with those tiny bodies? How do they make it? I mean, and the exhaustion of the wings flapping. I don't understand how they make it. I don't understand how butterflies make it. I mean, they're like a piece of paper that is just flying through space so far. How do they do it? Arthur Ganson, thank you, Judy. Thank you so much. Yep, that sounds absolutely right. Yeah, so we learned a little bit about weaving. It got me excited. I bought a book that I hadn't seen before we went to a book fair on Saturday morning at the local library. God, it was so not fun. Everyone was there bumping into you with their giant IKEA bags and scanning stuff. And it's like, could I just reach over to the quilt books without you severing my arm? Everyone is there like zzz, 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 trying to make money. And the rest of us are there wanting to look for a cute book, I'm in the craft section for goodness sake, right? I found my own book. I found The Haunted Rug because I think my mom probably donated a bunch of them to the library and probably no one's checking them out. And they probably thought, we don't need all of them. We'll put this one in the. So I bought it back because it looks great. And I'm like, oh, there we go. I had a hardcover, but not a soft cover. So it's mine now. 50 cents, right. That's not good, is it? That's not good. It was a great find, though. I was so confused when I found it. But I did find a great book on weaving, and I'll check it out. It's Weaving Without a Loom. So it was showing how to do simple weaving on cardboard, to do pin weaving, and just very simple, right? And I thought, well, maybe I could do some of this stuff and incorporate it into some of my rug pieces, right? Which is what I've been wanting to do all along. Patricia, great to see you. Good morning in Binghamton. Welcome back. Happy Monday. Just raked up approximately 50 pounds of acorns. Stop it. Stop it. The only thing about acorns, right? Because I mean, I can't rake them up that fast, but sometimes I go on these benders where I collect them in the woods and I think I'm going to do crafts with them and I like shellac them or like paint them or try to add felt to them, like a felt acorn with a real acorn cap. I've done that several times, but they always end up rotting. Is there a way? I don't expect you to know, Patricia, but I wonder if anyone has successfully done a craft with either acorns or conkers because they're so beautiful. And I've tried drilling and sealing and all this stuff just for like jewelry, just for fun, just for fall crafts with the kids. And they always end up rotting. And I wonder if there's any way around that. Because I see people doing laser cutting onto fall leaves, like actual fall leaves. And I'm thinking, how can they do that? And I can't even drill a hole through a conker without the thing rotting. Strange. Oh, there's a bug in here. Okay. Um, anyway, it's good to see everybody. And Kirsten, you did remind me. Kirsten said, "Did you find the MIT bookstore?" Oh no, you know what? I think I accidentally went to the gift shop, but not the bookstore. That would have been. It is next to it. Now that you say it, I remember when we walked in, I said, "Let's go to the bookstore," and then we went to the gift store, and I forgot about the bookstore because the gift store had some books. We ended up getting like Pavlov's dog is like a stuffed thing, and a and some chocolate bars. They were the best chocolate bars I've ever had. I forgot about the bookstore. I probably would have really liked that. Teddy probably would have really liked that. Dang it. And Cheryl, I just have to say as a side note, I might be near you on the Cape quite a bit this coming summer. I'm hoping because I'm trying to sign Jocelyn up for one of these like month-long marine biology kids programs at Woods Hole. So we can't apply yet. We can't apply until February, but I'm really hoping that she gets in because it's all about fishing and identifying like breeding grounds of different kinds. I mean, this sounds awful to me. This sounds like you're outside, you're talking about fish, you're looking at fish. I mean, it sounds like a punishment to me, but as a fisher lady herself and someone who loves marine animals, it'd be a super, super dream. So fingers crossed, we'll see, because that would put me there. I think it's 3 weeks, that program. I would love that. Dave, Carla, great to see you, not Dave. You have to bake them, the acorn caps. Seriously, it works like a charm. Huh. So I guess you're just baking, because they're so cute. You know, when people felt the bottom of an acorn, I know you've seen this because they're at craft fairs. I've seen them like transformed into necklaces and stuff too. They look so cute, and I would love to be able to make those. Carla, thank you. At low heat. Okay, like 250 kind of thing, or 320. Those are the only two temperatures I know. Those are like what I go to for like the few things I do in the kitchen. I'm gonna have to look that up. That sounds really good because I'd love to do a little tutorial on needle felting, like little acorns for charm necklace. You know, they sell all these necklace things, the blanks, at like all the big craft stores now, where you can get like the chain and just a simple hardware. It's so cheap, it comes together, where you can like little needle nose things to add little ringlets, and then you add charms and things. It seems like it would be so nice to put little felted acorns onto a necklace or something, you know. I'm going to give that a shot. I will look that up. But now I need to find the acorns. They got to be around here somewhere, right? All right. So, you know, this morning I thought, why don't we finish what we started with Friday's show? Because on Friday, if you remember, we were looking at, and I did order one of those really thin hooked rugs from Amazon, so it should come soon. And I'm looking forward to having it down on the flagstone in the breezeway, because rolling my chair over flagstone and rolling this mount that I have you on with all of the camera stuff and the light stuff, I have to roll it a lot to get back out from under it, right? If there's a fire, I'd be done. I'd be like pushing this thing across the flagstone, and it keeps getting stuck on stones. So I'm really hoping that that rug helps. For what they cost, like $65 for a giant rug, I'm really curious to see how pretty it is and how well it works, you know, for a little bit of insulation. They are certainly not hooked rugs in the sense that ours are hooked rugs. The rugs we were looking at on Friday, for the most part, I snuck in a few old rugs to try to trick you, and I was successful a few times to say, like, what do you think? Is this a new or an old rug? And the reason I was playing that game is to make the point that a lot of the rugs that we're seeing that say hooked rugs, right? This can be a real jack tripper for people who are approaching the rug business for the first time and don't have a lot of experience in person looking at what a real hooked rug looks like, the kind of hooked rug we do with our hands. And some of these kind of commercially made sort of imposter hooked rugs, they look pretty dang close to what we make. They are kind of perfecting it at this point. You've really got to look at the back to see that sort of sheet of monk's cloth or just woven or glue, if it's a little bit older, to know that it is not a truly handmade rug. But they are being sold as handmade rugs, both online and at auctions. And to make matters more confusing, many of these rugs are playing with absolutely traditional, this thing is slipping. This is going to drive me nuts. Traditional, let me see if I can tighten this. Rug hooking motifs. For example, we're going to look at one. The thumbnail was the sheep, right? You would look at that and you would say, oh, what's that? Like a scattered flag pattern kind of thing. And they're not, you know, and I'm not saying it's like deceitful or misleading. I'm just saying you have to be kind of careful nowadays, because there's not a lot of difference in looking at, for example, a yarn hooked rug that's a commercial hooked rug. Those can look very, very close to, for example, McAdoo's and George Wells rugs, right? If they're yarn, they look really close. I mean, you would absolutely have to see the back or know the pattern or be with the rug to really be able to check. Shannon, great to see you. I haven't listened to your message yet, but that's my first thing when I get offline. Carla says, bake at 200. Oh, 200 for 1 to 2 hours. Oh, the slow burn. I use them for needle felting all the time. Takes care of little critters I see that are like, yeah, okay. That's a great idea. I would love to see some of your acorns. I would have loved to have had that in the fall magpie. That would have been an amazing um, article. Maybe next year we can put that into the fall magpie. That would be a lot of fun. And Judy says those camp rugs that I sent you a link to are actually hooked, they claim, but I don't see how they can be true. That can be true when the look is completely consistent in a variety of sizes and shapes. Absolutely, they're not hand hooked. They're, I mean, it's language, isn't it? It's language, and who's going to call them out on it? Like Amazon, right? Amazon like has it just. I love Amazon, and I'm a small business, and I use Amazon, and I couldn't keep going if it weren't for Patreon subscribers. Good opportunity to say thank you, Patreon, because sales are way down. Sales are about, for me, a third of what they historically have been. And I know it's tariffs, and I know what's going on now, and I know it's people panicking about money, and I know everything is more expensive right now, and crafts are the first thing to go. But it's not good. So Patreon. Oh my God, there's a bear outside. I'm not kidding. There's a bear. Oh my God, wait a minute. Oh my God, I hope the cat's not out there. Let me see if I can take you. Hold on. Hold on one second. Aryan! 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 There's a bear outside. Like right outside. Whew, hold on one second. He's literally right outside the door. I don't think I can sweep the cat. I think my shout. Oh, Jesus, he's going back up the hill. Let me see if I can get you. No, I'll never get you there. I'm just seeing his butt disappear into the trees. Whew. He just went up into the trees. It was a little, it was a little bear. Yeah, you'll probably see him right there. I hope Pitter Pat wasn't outside. He didn't look like he was snacking on a cat, but he just went right there. He was standing right outside the door on the patio. Oh. So I guess my idea for creating a space for buttons right outside that door, maybe not that door. Maybe we'll pick a different door. Yeah, I can still see him in the distance. He's up on the ridge there. He's right behind those trees. Oh, Jesus, that got my heart going. I'm sorry. I saw something out there with dark ears, and I thought, is it a dog? I don't know why I would think that, because we've been here long enough to know there's bears. But yeah, he was just cruising around, probably looking for chipmunks to snack on. Whew, he was very, very pretty. Wish I could have swung the camera, but it would never have done the right view. I should set myself up over there, so if that happens again, I was going to say, is it trash day? Is that why he came through? Maybe we could catch him next time. Maybe he's got a little routine going. Whew, that was weird. Okay. What was I saying? That scared me. All right, so let's see. We haven't seen one for a while. I kind of thought they were going to sleep or something. Not yet, I guess. All right, so let's come over here and let's look at some of the rugs, and we'll say bye to Teddy for the moment. We were playing, is it new or is it old? So let's keep playing. What do you think? Is it new or is it old, this rug? What do you think? This is where we left off on the Friday show. And remember, I'm not swaying you one way or another. Remember a lot of the rugs that we have been looking at. Buttons, you were sleeping right through that, honey. Now he's alert. You slept right through that. You were like 1,000th the size of that animal, honey. A lot of the rugs that we have been seeing that, as Judy says, like they're commercially made. This is where I left off. I was saying it's all about language, isn't it? Because if you say something is handmade, it's not, I don't know where to draw the line. It's like purposely misleading, but you can say, you can make an argument for, well, someone's hands were weaving it, or someone's hands were operating the machine that hooked it, right? It's a very gray area, and we know what a hooked rug looks like, and we know these are not hooked rugs. These are not handmade hooked rugs. But there is an argument, like same thing with like knitted sweaters and stuff, right? This conversation comes up. Well, my hands were using the knitting machine. I mean, it's kind of, it's definitely a gray area. So it's hard to say, but at the end of the day, one of the things that I can't say whether it's misleading or not, Judy says old. I can't say if it's misleading or not, but it seems to me that when you compound both something that looks like a yarn hooked rug, and this is not, this is wool strips, and yes, this is old. And you start doing patterns that are absolutely signature style rug hooking patterns, then then you're basically making replicas. So this is not a replica. This is probably an early 20th century, something that appeared at, that's on auction now, like one of these. Let me see if I can find it on my phone and I'll give you the pricing on it. But what I love about this piece, this could be one that people do, one of these commercial companies that we were talking about, looking at. It could be one that they would do. I mean, why not, right? It would come out great. But let me see if I have this one in here. Hold on one second. I'm going to see if I can find it. There it is. So it's a vintage floral, and it says hand knotted. So again, we know it's one of these sellers who does not know the difference between a hooked rug and a knotted rug, because this is certainly a hooked rug, starting at $100, and they expect to get over 1,000 for it. So they're not going to get over 1,000 for this rug. But at the end of the day, I would say, Karen, great to see you. Good morning from foggy and cool Black Forest, Colorado. Slept in late. Um, I would say at the end of the day, oh, Dave, you said new. That just came delayed because of the bright colors. I was hoping somebody would say new. I agree. It's a tricky one because the colors are so bright. It's like this is absolutely a hit or miss rug, right? Even the blue in the border it's a lot of different blues it took to make this up. And the thing about this rug that I think is really remarkable, this is not $1,000 rug, I promise you, but it is interesting, and it is something that you could run with this idea of doing a rug that is completely hit or miss, right? The inside cameo or the field in the center is totally hit or miss. The border is also very hit or miss. Even the flowers are a bit hit or miss. Like somebody has kept running out of stuff again and again and again. And that inside field for me is what makes it. Like using rainbow hit or miss in clumps, right? Like streaks rather than fooled again. Good, good. It's supposed to be tricky. Um, Instead of individual strands, gives it a completely different look. We're so used to seeing hit or miss done as one strand, here's another strand, but this person really tried to keep colors together and ended up making like streaks of color. And it gives a completely different look, particularly when the colors are really bright colors, right? So this rug is not for everyone. It does have that, late Victorian, early 20th century look to it. It is a lovely rug, but more than that, I think more than it is pretty, I think it's a rug that holds a great idea, and it just sort of reframes our definition of what is a hit or miss rug, right? What are you doing with hit or miss? Are you just filling in the darks and then you're filling in the lights, or are you actually trying to create patterning and abstract patterning at that? Huda Ava, Heidi, great to see you. Beautiful day with the evening sun over there in Belgium. Oh, it sounds beautiful. Can only imagine. I bet if there's some canals around, it's glittering off the canals. This is a beautiful rug. Don't forget this idea, right? Because we do a lot with hit or miss, but we always seem to do hit or miss the same way. And this is just a way more heavy-handed way of doing it, isn't it? Interesting. So that was an old rug. Um, this one I could not crop where it says iconic style over on the left. So it's hard to give it to you to guess because that kind of gives it away. This is a new rug that is trying to look like an iconic style, an iconic rug hooking style. It's a cat's paw, and it comes in different colors. This is an Amazon rug. Let me see if I can tell you who the maker is. And I'll tell you what, I have this rug. Um, I bought it years ago when we were at, hold on, let me see if I can find this one. Oh, maybe it showed, yeah, let me go to the website. Is it on? No, it's not on Amazon. I'm sorry. It's on Annie Selke, Selke. Annie Selke um, has a huge amount of, I'm doing little air quotes with my hands, um, hand hooked rugs, right? They're not hand hooked, but they are really beautiful. So, for example, I'll show you this on the phone. I bought this at a yard sale maybe 5 years ago for like $20, I think. And it was, wait a minute, where are you? Okay, wait, why is it playing me like this? It is a beautiful rug. It's worn very, very well, considering that Pitter Pat the cat, it loves to claw on it. It's still in really good shape. It's a very high quality rug, the cat's paw. That's the one I think I showed you, but it comes in a lot of other colors, right? So if you don't want a sort of fake hooked rug from Annie Selke, and they are very high quality, you might, and you do love cat's paw, you might want to think about looking at pages like her website to get ideas for color planning, because you are seeing them in such different colors. None of these are the one that I bought. I bought one. That one's light blue, really different. Um, and this is another style of rug that they can make very small or very big. For example, this is a very big one. You can just tell by the scale of the cat's paw, it's much bigger. So they come in all different sizes, but you do notice this is the one I have. You do, and mine is bigger, not as big as the one I just showed you, but it's still big. You do notice it's a little bit formulaic, like it's not completely random, and it has to be that way because somebody might order a small one or somebody might order a big one. So these rugs are expensive. So for example, a 2 by 3, which is quite small, is 118. If you're doing something larger, like for the under the coffee table that's a 6 by 9, guess how much that is? $1,078. Now they are gorgeous. I believe they're 100% wool, micro hooked wool, right? So that's a term that isn't real. That's a term that only exists in the commercial sector. Micro hooked wool. I think what they mean is they're hooking it with yarn, and it definitely looks like 3-ply Briggs and Little yarn. That's exactly what it looks like. Because when I first saw this rug at the yard sale, I thought it was an authentic hooked rug. Dominique, good to see you. Welcome back. And until I turned it around and I saw that backing and realized it wasn't, I was quite excited about like a nice old cat's paw because it looked old and used and it had some stains because it was at a yard sale, right? That's why I got it for $20 instead of $1,080, which wouldn't have even been a conversation. But yeah, Annie Selke, Selke, she's got some really unusual rugs. And this is a great example of people who are now, let's try it. Yeah. Let's just poach that micro hooked rug. It sounds so clinical. But it's yarn. It's just yarn. And it's not particularly fine yarn either. It's definitely like a the equivalent of a 3-ply. So it's heading toward bulky, but they can say micro if they want. It is a lovely rug. This site has a lot of really pretty rugs that are done in the tradition of much older rugs, and they become tricky, right? So what do you think about this one? Are you going to go with this is an old rug or this is a new rug? I'm going to look this up and see if I can find it in my notes here. Okay, I found it, so I know the answer. Old rug or new? Judy says new. And it certainly looks like a new rug, and it's an older rug. This is a vintage rug. This is another one with, let me see, hold on. This is another one that's online. Auction ends October 13th. Bidding starts at $900. It is a large rug at 51 by 67. And it does look old, right? And I wanted to trick you. Two of you said old, and Judy said new. I wanted to trick you with this because it's nice, bright colors. It's hard to tell, but it's claiming that it is a mid 20th century rug. It is on burlap. It's in the country style. We know that. The this pre-owned piece dates back circa 1940. So I don't know how they know that because I'm not seeing a. Hold on, I'm going to go back to the website. I'm not seeing a tag on it. I don't know. They probably found another rug that looks like it's 1940 because I'm not seeing a date on it. And for all I know, and for all you know, with these online auctions, it could be that it is a new rug. It might be that this rug tricked the seller the same way that it tricked Judy, right? Who's to say it's not? When they're not showing you photos of the back of it, you just don't know. They can say that this is a vintage rug or a pre-owned rug and hence vintage. Well, that's not true. We know vintage is supposed to be, keep looking out the window to see if the bear comes back. Vintage is supposed to be 50 years old and antique is supposed to be 100 years old. So I don't know. And you know what? I don't know if they know. So then we hit the gray area specifically with these geometric rugs. Geometric rugs, unless you have some clue or you can see it in person or you can see the back of it, geometric rugs are going to be the hardest ones to determine whether they are old or new. So what do you think about this rug, old or new? Can you believe? I mean, I would think we're not really insulated here in the breezeway. I would totally have thought that Buttons would have smelled the bear who was 1 foot away from the screen door. Linda says old. Rita says new. Kirsten says new. Karen says, new, you all are smart, and I think you're on to me now. It is a new rug. But doesn't it look like it could be an old rug? I would have guessed you need to hook a comfy rug for the bear to sleep on. I wonder if I put a rug out there, what he would do. Wouldn't that be a fun thing to record? If I made like a cozy area out there for, but then it would be like I'm hosting him, right? And he'd be like, don't mind if I do, and just like live there outside the door. That'd be awful. The chipmunks would go away. We wouldn't have the pleasure of watching their little fat bodies run around all the time. Oh, Kirsten, you've seen it for sale. So that was a dead giveaway. And you probably remembered seeing it because it's really odd that this is a new rug. This is from a company called Dash and Albert. They have their own website, and they also sell on Amazon. They can do this like for the hall, for the stairs. They can do this as a runner. They can do this as high traffic area. It's 100% wool. So let's see how much these cost. So for example, they only have 4 left in stock. For example, the rug that is 7 foot 6 inches by 9 foot 6 inches is $1,600 on Amazon. So you know what? They're closing into, and look at it. I'm going to show you it here as, and it's a yarn rug. It's going to be a yarn rug when it comes. So for someone who doesn't know hooked rugs, you could easily be bamboozled. Oh no, what just happened? Come on, seriously? Come on. Hold on. Let me do this again. My hands, when I want to click something, it's like I have to click it 20 times. But when I don't want to click something, it's right there. It's right there playing me. Let me come back over here. Where'd you go? You little stinker. I want to show you the big one because it is interesting how they're able to make it that big. Let me not lose hold of this again. Look at this. Right, that's the one that's 1,600. And it is 100% wool, and it is brand new, and it's suitable. It will come into focus, I hope. It is suitable for high traffic areas, so it's okay to put down on the floor. And you know what? We've been using Oriental carpets for this for years, and those cost a fortune. I'm not sure that it's a completely bad thing that we're seeing. Why is it doing this to me? That we're seeing hooked rugs for these kinds of prices. You saw it, right? You saw it pretty close. You got to be kidding me. I just wanted it to come into focus, but you get a feel for the scale of it. So again, it's a toughie because something like that, that's a really specific geometric, right? We've seen this, but it's not that common, right? We know this to be a geometric early rug hooking pattern, right? Like late Victorian period, early 20th century. And they've even figured out with a commercial rug like this how to do hit or miss fills. I mean, seriously, look at the backgrounds of these flowers. They're like very hit or miss. They're using textured yarns as well. This is all yarn. I mean, they're getting very, very good, I have to say. Now, just like everything, there will never be a replacement for an authentically old hooked rug. But isn't it interesting how close the commercial rugs at this moment have gotten to not just the technique of a hooked rug, but the look of an antique hooked rug? And isn't it curious that they're trying to create antique looks? Then there's hybrids like this. So I'll ask you again with this one, what do you think? Do you think this is an old rug or a new rug? This is a bit of a mutation, isn't it? Which makes it confusing. I think it's pretty obvious that this is a new rug, just because even though these are patterns that we've seen, right? We've seen this sort of billowing ribbon, like scrolling ribbon, ribbon bows, lots of ribbon, and we've seen checkerboard, tons of checkerboard. But with older rugs that are truly hit or miss, they're not this consistent, are they? Like this looks more like a watercolor than it does a rug that has seen fading over 200 years. So this is a Mackenzie Childs rug, and this is on Amazon. Let me see how much this cost. I think this comes in many sizes too. And we know this brand. This is a very desirable brand, the Mackenzie Childs store. It exists on its own and also exists on Amazon. It's not as expensive as you would think. The 2x3 is $80 because some of her picture frames, it's them, right? It's a couple, Mackenzie Childs. Some of their picture frames sell for like $500 or $600. I'm not kidding. they're crazy. Some of their furniture and painted stuff is absolutely. Oh, hey Diane, good to see you. Super crazy, really crazy prices. But $80 for a welcome mat rug. I mean, it sounds like a lot to me because it's not hand. Obviously, handmade one is going to cost more than 80. But even like a 3x5 is 150. That's the biggest. Oh no, wait a minute. The biggest size they do is 2'6" by 8'. So that's more of a runner size, and that's 220. So still not like bonkers pricing, you know. Oh, let me show you. I'm going to give you a quick. Hold on, what's going on out there? I don't see anything. That's what the runner looks like. And so all of these, we won't wait for it. You get it, right? All of these, the scale is what it's all about. And that's why they create rugs with these kinds of patterns that can be stretched or cropped. So the Mackenzie Child rugs are a little bit different because while they are still pulling from known traditional rug hooking designs, there's always this element of play. And for me, with this specific rug, it's the shading, right? It's the checkerboard, but all of this yellow shading, it has the look of a Mackenzie Child's rug. Also the color palettes, right? This is another variation of the same one, but they just have a look. They play with light and dark in a way that's very organic, but not consistent with actual aging, consistent with art, right? With painting and art, but not with actual fading of textile. This one I really dislike. It just reminds me of chili peppers for some reason. I feel like it's gotten away from the ribbon and it's gone toward the chili peppers. Love chili peppers, but yeah, I like the first color choices. There's lots of color choices for this one. This is another one of their rugs. It doesn't come in color choices, but again, can come in different sizes. So design-wise, what's going on? Well, the border is pretty straightforward. We know a checkerboard border in rug hooking. We are well versed in our checkerboard borders. The center is something we don't typically see, right? This is not a Pearl McGown center. This is an extreme crop. And it's an extreme crop because it's a large scale print, right? It's not like they make the print smaller if you order the smaller rug. The scale of the design is the same because the machines are set to do that design and that scale, right? They're going to press the button, it's going to do that scale. It's going to do it 16 times if you order a really big size rug. But if you order the welcome mat size or the medium size, it's going to do this. It might even get into a Georgia O'Keeffe style crop if there is a smaller rug. But the scale will not change. Just the size of the rug will change. So hence a larger sized rug has a repeat pattern but maintains that big scale. Quilters, you understand how this works, right? There are when you're shopping for fabric, there are the small prints, there are the medium prints, there are the calicos, which are even smaller than the small prints, and then you get into large prints. And large prints can be hard to use because you're getting an extreme crop of something. Now, does having the center be cropped take away from the design? That's up to you, isn't it? To me, it kind of does. And I only because when I look at it, I love the colors, I love the graphic quality, but when I look at it, to me, it does feel like it's cropped, and my brain is going, "Where's the rest of it?" I'm not seeing, for myself, for my taste, I'm not seeing the example of the full pattern that will repeat. I feel like I'm only seeing a piece of it, so tricky. But at the same time, somebody else might love this because crops, these kinds of crops, are really contemporary. And for someone who likes, look out if you're taking them outside. Make sure you're with them. Got to say that. You think I don't have to say that, but I do got to say that. Moving on to this rug. So this is the one I used for the thumbnail, and I think I gave this away too because at first glance, I feel like this looks like an old hooked rug. Like not old, but I feel like it looks like a 1980s or 90s hooked rug. Not old, but an actual hand hooked rug. And it's not. Again, this is another one of these Park Designs. Park Designs is a big rug hooking machine made rug hooking store, and their prices are low, right? Something like this. Let me see what size this is. Hold on. What size are you? Gosh, it's not telling me what size it is. Wouldn't you think that would be one of the basic things that one would need to know? Let me see if it, okay, 24 by 36. So 24 by 36 is 90. So, I mean, obviously it's cheaper than a handmade hooked rug would be, but this is one of those examples that you look at it and at first glance you just don't know. And if you love hooked rugs and you don't want anything but hooked rug designs around you, but you've got the cat and dog like my guys here, and you're not going to put a hooked rug on the ground, then maybe you go for something like this. Maybe you think close enough, right? Because it's going to hit the ground. I'm going to walk on it. The animals are going to do God knows what on it, and I'm going to go for it. So it's interesting, and I know a lot of I have mixed feelings about this because it's coming really close to home here. Like this is really close to home. Um, I don't know how you feel about it. I can see the utility of it. I can see that it's nice to have an option to have something that looks like this. But man, this is so close to what we do design wise that it ruffles me a little bit, I have to admit. Judy says, I'd be interested in knowing what machine hooked rugs process looks like mechanically. I would too. I wonder if there's a video like on YouTube of like them hooking rugs. There's so many stupid videos on YouTube. I hope I'm not among them. I'm sure some people think I am. But, I'd be so curious to know. I've seen like making saltwater taffy and stuff like that. Yes, I do watch stupid things on YouTube. I've seen stuff like that where I'm always interested, and the kids always are interested in, well, how do they make that? And I always say, well, let's see if there's a video on that we could look at, because it's always something crazy that you would never be able to picture. And this might be one of those things. One thing I'll say that is interesting about this rug, it doesn't come in color choices. The amount of neutral, it's basically all neutral with the exception of a little bit of the barn red and a little bit of the country green. Country green is like a blue green. The browns are neutral, the grays, the khakis, those are neutral. That yellow right on the edge, because it has a lot in common with khaki. It's a super, super primitive palette, but it's almost all neutrals. All of the main areas are done in neutrals. The border is gray, and we don't see a lot of this color border, kind of a brownish gray, right? It's a pretty dark border. There's not a lot of contrast with this piece, like the sheep, right? Their faces kind of blend in with the background, and so do their feet. And that's what makes you think like this is actually a hand hooked rug. And yet it's not. So someone is designing these park design rugs and really doing their research, because they are finding the things about actual rug hooking that make a rug look authentic, right? The things that we authentically do and struggle with, like contrast within primitive rugs because of all of the dark colors, right? Trying to figure out how to make those colors work and still have contrast, and the lumpiness of shape. This one is confusing a little bit too because it's not symmetrical, right? If you folded it in half, the leaves would be different from one side to the next, and the sheep would be different. The one on the right is a little bit lumpier and rounder. The one on the left is more of a slim jim. So, and also the border. So yeah, they are getting really close to what we're doing. Apples and oranges, and these are the oranges. They're never going to take over what we do. There will always be, I promise you, a market for stuff that's done by hand. It might come in waves. This is another example by Park Designs, same company, and again, not symmetrical. But pulling from things that we do, like the alternating striping in the border. Aryan, be careful. He was right there. God. I mean, I've said it twice, right? I've said it twice. That's all I can do. And he's walking uphill. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that, right? Oh, dear. I'm not going to leave the show at that. I'm just going to stop interacting with my husband because this is the kind of stuff he does that makes me crazy. And he's got the dog with him, which makes me the most crazy. Because if he wants to get attacked by the bear, that's the choice of an intellectual person who has a PhD. But if the dog gets snacked on, then I'll have to kill the holder of the dog. Bear, very lumpy and clunky, and another one by Park Designs that hits us right in the heart in terms of being something very close to a rug cooking design. I've done a design very close to this a few years ago with the star flowers and the circle flowers. I think everybody has. Little bit different, there are little touches, like you see the lamb's tongues, but they're not done the way that we typically do lamb's tongues, like as a rainbow. They're just kind of like two scallops next to each other. And they're not doing the top and bottom border the way that we usually do with rug hooking. We don't normally see this kind of a regular leaf thing. That's not one of our um, designs. There's no reason why it shouldn't be. We tend to do leaves and vines a little bit more filigree. This one's a bit more heavy, matches the leaves the leaves in the composition a bit better. But this isn't, I wouldn't say the leaf part is a classic rug hooking motif. It's a little bit different. And it's like, wow, it makes you think and it makes you realize there are yet some motifs and variations that we could do that we could be inspired by these kind of pseudo hand hooked rugs that are currently out and for sale. They're copying us, and we can copy them too. We can look at them and say, "Ooh, well, I always do lamb's tongues as rainbows, but I have to admit, I kind of like this shift, the lamb's tongue shift. I like that too. I wouldn't say I like it better, but I like it too. It's different, right? Interesting. And the sort of repeat of the scalloping on the bowl as well. Very clever design. Park Designs there too. This is another Park Designs. And again, although this one is more symmetrical, you can see it's not exactly perfect. I love to see me a good old pineapple, symbol of friendship, right? This is also the symbol of Newport, Rhode Island. I have a Tigger meeting tomorrow. We've got one of our big meetings coming up, doing some more brainstorming. I want to talk to you about that in a second. But these are all park designs, and this is a park design as well. And this is something that this is a rug hooking joke that we know well. The sort of marble cake mound, right? A hill, and then the salt box sitting on top of it with the oversized Jack and the Beanstalk flowers. And look at how well executed it is. The color variation, the antique black in the background, and the fact that it can be done. Now, this can be done in different scales. So not all of the new hooked rug manufacturing companies can do scale. It doesn't look like Mackenzie Childs does scale, but Park Designs does, because the scale of that little chair pad is definitely different than the scale of the little welcome mat. But I think they only do rugs, so that doesn't surprise me. So interesting. Food for thought, because they're chasing us, right? These designers are chasing what we do and what we've historically done. We can look at their stuff and chase it likewise, right? It'd be like the dog chasing his tail, right? Or the cat chasing. It's usually dogs who chase their tails, right? Mine doesn't do that, so I can't say. But I wish I would see them coming back around the house now that I know they're walking out there. This stuff drives me nuts. Coming back to the subject of the pineapple and Newport, listen, tomorrow we're having another Tigger meeting and we're making some decisions where at certain junctures we kind of make some more decisions. You know, I've mentioned already, and we're going to make this public soon. If you are following Tigger, if you're a Tigger member, I hope that you are. I just did the Frost and Frost class. The other girls are putting interactive stuff together. We're putting out a series of interviews with well-known people in rug hooking and also members. So there's a lot of content coming at you. We're putting together, or we are putting together the event itself. So we're doing a lot of behind the scenes stuff for people who are not coming to Tigger 2027 in Newport, Rhode Island, the actual convention. For people who know that they can't or they won't make it, there will be stuff for you online. And obviously not as much. And the vibe of being there in person with all of the exhibits and all of the other stuff that we have planned is a once in a lifetime thing, right? We will not have another Tigger in Newport in our lifetimes. I can guarantee that. There might be another one in the U.S., but it won't be me heading it, right? And for no reason other than we take turns, and that is, okay, they're back. That is the nature of the organization. So I want to ask you, particularly if you feel like you might be coming, tomorrow we're going to be talking about, in our board meeting, we're going to be talking about who do we want to see as teachers, who do we want to see as vendors, and whose work do we want to see exhibited in the shows, in the rug shows, right? There'll be displays. There'll be a bunch of rug shows. You didn't see the bear, did you? Okay. Let me know who you would like to see, because I've got my list, and the other girls have their lists. I guess the first thing we want to do is see if there's anyone in common on our lists, and those maybe be the people that we go to first. But we already know that we want to do like classes at ProChem, because ProChem is like half an hour away. So we want to offer classes at ProChem, dyeing classes, because that's something you typically can't give at a convention, a dyeing class that's that in depth. But ProChem just do it themselves over there, right? So we know we're offering that. We know we're offering a lot of classes that relate to the Endangered Species Project. Liz Marino is teaching, and a bunch of other of her fellow McGowan teachers are teaching, and they are all big names. So they will be teaching their respective patterns. There'll be at least, I would say, 4, if not 6 classes that are based on the endangered species patterns taught by the actual person using different techniques and their different animals and their different patterns. So in theory, you might want to sign up for more than one of the endangered species if you're really hooked on that exhibit. So we know that we have that group. I think that I think that Haley and Naomi will be teaching completely different things. I think Ali Strebel will be teaching because I spoke to her about that. I think there were some other people who are like we're set, but then there's still a lot of movement, a lot of space, and a lot of people who we can't really agree on. And I would like to see people teaching and vending and exhibiting who are, I want to see obviously mostly landslide of rug hooking work, but I'd also like to see other mediums, right? Like I'd like to see adjacent mediums. I'd like to see a quilter teaching or showing or selling, and I'd like to see needle art. And that also occurred at the most recent Tigger in Canada, right? So that happened there. We'd like to continue that tradition of bringing in sister fiber arts. So don't be just thinking about rug hooking people. I will say we're also looking to bring in some different people than we normally see. And remember, it's fall of 2027 because I've thought of some people who I would love to have, and I've approached some people who are, in their 80s, and they're like, yeah, I just can't commit. That's just too far out at this point, health wise, time wise, age wise. It's something to consider. But vendors, teachers, and exhibitors who you would like to see there, let me know, right? Because I've got a big list going, and I'd be really curious. We're not making any commitments to people until we hear from the Tigger base, like who they want. We're very reluctant to commit to people based on I like this person, and we're not doing the open call with this iteration of Tigger where people can just say, I would like to teach this, here it is. We're doing shout outs specifically to people because last time they had a ton of people, like 30 something people say, I would like to teach, and everyone was allowed to teach. So some of the classes had like 2 people in them. We can't afford to do that because the event becomes too expensive if we're holding up all those rooms for 2 people. They have to be classes that are going to get a lot of seats taken. And we want to see a lot of sellouts because all of the classes, I hope, will repeat from day to day. It won't be like you get one shot at that teacher and then that's it. So be thinking about that. And definitely, the meeting is tomorrow. So if you have any great brainstorms today or tomorrow morning, let me know because I would love to put some more names on my list. I feel like I have a huge blind spot because I'm trying so hard to bring in people who are at the beginning of their rug hooking career or their fiber art career and who I feel it's like betting on a horse, right? Like who I feel are gonna make a big mark in the fiber arts, and I want them at Tigger, um, but then I don't want to have too many people who nobody's heard of yet, right? But send me any names that you've got, and I promise I will take the time to pull up the websites. If you have a link and you can send it to me, that's even quicker. Let me see what kind of work people do because it'll help me synthesize my thoughts. And um, as long as they are people who are either in the U.S. already, or if they are not in the U.S., um, they have the working permit or papers to work in the U.S. We're not doing any kind of sly backdoor deals where you just kind of sneak in and teach. We're not doing that because we could get in trouble for that. And we're also we're not really looking for international teachers because we're holding it in the U.S. and we're supposed to be showcasing the talent in the U.S., right? Because the U.S. has not hosted it for many, many, many years. I know we are not on the favorites list on the world stage at this moment, but we can be in our craft. There are a lot of great fiber artists here and a lot of great rug hookers here. I really want to showcase Americans, but I'm willing because it's set in the U.S. That's the only reason, right? Um, you know, but we are willing and happy to look at people who are in other places as long as it's legal for them to work there. Maybe that includes you if you're watching. Super happy to have you and would love to have a variety of people and techniques and points of view. But just want to be sure that we stay very, very legal, and we're not going to be flying people around with this Tigger and paying huge amounts of expense with buying people flights and hotel rooms and stuff like that, because I know that sounds cheap, but you know what? If we do that, you know who pays for it. It works just like tariffs. You pay for it. And we're going to have to work that into the cost of everything, because we only collected X amount of seed money and it was in Canadian dollars, so it didn't equate to a huge amount. Everything else we have to drum up with membership and providing stuff to encourage people to become members and give you good content in the 3 years leading up to Tigger. And all of that's available even if you sign up during even if you sign up right at Tigger, right, the conference, you still get all of the content that was there all along. So you have access to all of the classes, all of the interviews, all of the patterns, all of it's there. Even if you wait 2 more years to sign up, you get all the same stuff. It doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, someone has to pay for all of these decisions, all of these choices. So we're not making expensive choices. We're trying to keep prices lower than usual, and we're trying to make it accessible for people who are also coming to just do one class or two, or coming for the Emporium days when there's lots of vendors there, or coming just for the day from another state to see a rug show kind of thing and also visit Newport. We want to make it affordable for those people too. So, yeah, so think on that and give me I just found a new pocket in my pants. What's better than that? But reach in there in case there's a copy of the Constitution in there. No, they're not that old. Um, think about that. And yeah, really think about that if you have time, because I would love some great ideas, and I would love to be sent some names of people who I don't know yet. That would be really exciting, because then I can go down the rabbit hole and make some good decisions. So, alrighties, remember to send in your stuff for gallery night on Friday, this coming Friday, October, what will we be? 10th, Friday, October 10th. And send in your stuff you're working on, stuff you finished, stuff you're about to do, sketches, projects that you're stuck with, things that you saw out in the big world, all of that stuff. Let's look at it together at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Friday for cocktail night, gallery night. I will see you then, and you can write to me at ribboncandyhooking@gmail.com.